Hey there. So in a recent video, I received this comment from S3 and he had some really great ideas, some of which I was already planning to do. So I might as well do them right now. I think that what I'm going to start with is he kind of mentioned that, the Lisa had more RAM and it had double buffering. Double buffering was something that the AI decided not to do because of the 256K limit. But a lot of my own XTs have at least 512K. So I think having a dynamic option that sets double buffering when more RAM is detected makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in this video. He also recommended a progress bar of some kind to see what's happening when it's loading. I'll do that as well. And sound, I do eventually want to add a actual sound card support, maybe Sound Blaster or AdLib built into the operating system. But for now, I'm gonna add basic speaker support, and it'd be kind of cool. I don't know how easy or if it's even possible to directly interact with the speaker in assembly, and maybe say something like a frequency generated hello or something like that. So it might be cool to try that out. I don't know if I'm going to do it in this video, but something definitely I'll try in another video. And what else did he recommend here? Move the bounce and clock app away from the OS disk. I think that makes sense. And add a clock indicator to the top of the menu. I really like that, just like we have here in the current Mac OS. I'll do that because it is kind of a good way to see if the machine froze. And I'll see if it can read the real-time clock if it's available. If it's not, then it'll have to be set every single time the machine boots. Some of the other things that he mentioned here are kind of cool, and maybe I'll do them later in follow-up videos because it can get a little bit too much in one video. The one is like having a Pong game. I like that. I like it a lot, actually. I was even thinking about doing a Pong multiplayer in terms of having two of these operating systems connected in some kind of serial console and have like a multiplayer Pong. I think that would be kind of a cool demo. And a console, yeah, I will do console. I have to figure out how that's going to play out because right now there's technically no file system in this operating system, so I have to figure that out. And a splash screen, that's totally possible, but right now that takes up valuable space unless I make it very, very simple, like a very simple design. I have some ideas there, maybe like a spinning cube or something graphical like that, which can be done very cheaply, but is very, very eye-catchy. I do plan to have fat file system support because I think that's important to transfer files between DOS machines, especially for text, because I do plan to port over some programs to this operating system, including and then also have a file manager. And I don't. Oh yeah, Total Commander. Yeah, that's something that I can. I used to really like the DOS file manager, the one with the little floppy drive. So I might do that. So, all right. Well, I really do appreciate all this feedback, and if you're watching this and thank you so much. Otherwise, if somebody else is watching this and has some additional ideas that I could consider, please leave them below. I am looking for ideas because I think this is really fun and it's very easy to add features using AI. So let's keep them coming. All right. So like I said, in this video, I'm gonna start with double buffering. I'm gonna show a progress bar, speaker sound support, and then move some of the bouncing apps, some of the apps to away from the operating system. I'm also going to consider improving the clock app and adding a system clock to the top of the menu bar. So that's quite a lot of work. So let's get started. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I am going to create a configuration so that I can run the simulator with 512K of RAM. So I'm going to ask it here to create a second configuration, like I said, for QEMU and 86 box. So that when I run make xt-512, it'll create the 86 box configuration with 512K. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm gonna run that really quick. All right, so I tried 512K, but it decided that after it did some tests with QEMU and CBIOS, it determined that 512K is not like an official supported memory for some reason. So it did make it work with a patch, but I wanted to not have to patch anything or the ROM or nothing like that. So we're gonna go with 640 kilobyte or a 1 megabyte machine that then causes the operating system to see 640K. So let's go with that and see what happens. So right now, if I go and say make xt640, it should run the machine with 640K. That means that the memory test is gonna take a while. I should see if I can speed that up, or if that's necessary. Oh, that was not 640K. Let's see. Task manager. Yeah, it only says 256. All right, something didn't go right there. All right. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out what's going on here, because let me see what's going on. All right. All right, so it found some issues. It had to update the 86 box configuration to switch to the IBM XT86, which is the 1986 XT board revision that supports between 256 and 640K instead of the 1982 one. Let's see, and then it changed the memory size to 640. So now let me try that again. Make xt640. All right, copyright 1991, that's the BIOS for the video card. Oh, look at that, the memory test is going much faster. All right, 640 kilobytes. All right, and os8088 loading. All right, and there we go. We have we should have now 640 kilobytes available. Oh, that's the wrong one. 1 second. Task manager, 640K. All right, superpower. All right, so now I can continue on doing some other stuff. So the next thing I'm gonna do is let's make a fun loader. I'm gonna push these changes to a branch and create a PR. All right, let's do that. And then the next thing we're gonna do is I wanna add a nice little loading indicator of some sort. I'm gonna see if I can do like a graphical one. Why not, like a splash screen? Let's see if let's try that. Or maybe let's just let's not go overboard yet with that because I want to try it in real hardware first before I start continuing with the graphical stuff. We'll do some kind of like a loading indicator that is text-based. All right, so let me clear this state, and then now, all right, I want to show you what it did so far, but I'm not happy with this, especially since it seems like it slowed things down. So let me just show you really quick. I hope this boots right now with that animation. Let's see here. See this right here? But now it seems like this takes longer than I remember. I should have timed it, but I think we can do better than that. So I asked it to do a couple of things there and see if we can do better. Maybe something graphical. All right, let me check back over here. And all right, so I asked it to do something graphical like a spinning 8088. So we'll see. Let's see what it's gonna build. All right, so it's the next morning, and right now I'm gonna see if this animation for a splash screen that I asked it to make actually worked. So this is a two-stage graphical boot splash at 640 by 480. So I know it's overkill, but let's make it. Let's see what happens here. Make XT. All right, so here's the virtual machine. This is the 8088 with at 4.77 megahertz with 256 kilobytes of RAM and a VGA video card. All right, here we go. Oh, that's interesting. All right, I think that's gonna be it for now. All right, it did something. It did something. All right. About an os8088. All right, so I'm gonna call that a win. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but I was expecting like some kind of like graphic like this, but I'm gonna change my expectations here. All right, so let's keep on going. What was next in the list here? Let me see. So double buffering is the one that I'm going to be working on next. So the progress bar, that's done. Now we have a 640K machine, and let's go ahead and add double buffering. All right, so here's what I asked it to do right now. I said, in our initial spec, we decided to not support double buffering due to only having 256 kilobytes of RAM. Can you enable double buffering for video if you detect that we have enough RAM? Let's say at least 512 kilobytes of RAM. Fall back to the current video implementation if less than 512 kilobytes. So it's gonna go through this process, and hopefully it'll successfully wire in conditional back buffer. So let's give it some time here and see where we land. All right, so here's where we're at now. It took some time. It took 38 minutes, and os8088 now double buffers video when it detects 512 kilobytes of RAM and falls back to byte for byte to the original direct VRAM path below that. Both paths are built, booted, and exercised in QEMU. So this is how it works. All right, I'm not going to go through all of those details, but I'll post them on the page. And I'm going to try right now to load the 256 kilobyte version and then the 640K one, and so that we can see the difference. All right, so let me do that really quickly. So make XT, that will boot that 256 kilobyte virtual machine, and I expect it to run the same way. It did say that it had to move around or consolidate some functions to make space in the kernel. So I'm a little bit concerned that I'm running to like some kind of headroom here that I'm not aware of, but let's see. Okay, so here we are, and we have about os8088. This is the same behavior. It feels a little bit faster already. Whatever it rewrote, maybe that helped already a little bit. Control panel. Okay, everything redraws as expected, like it did before. So now we can have bounds. We can have another bounds, and everything redraws, pretty fast. So let's run the 640K one and see how that behaves now. Make XT640. All right. So here we are. We're counting up to 640K. And almost there. All right. Well, this is taking longer to load because of the larger memory usage, maybe. Oh, fancy. I wasn't expecting that. All right. Let's see about os8088. Oh, I don't think I wanted that. This feels really slow. I'm not sure what the heck did it do. Let's see. Oh, wow. What the heck is going on? Why is it doing that? All right. The dragging is really slow right now. But it is double buffering. Look at that. Interesting. I don't think I wasn't expecting it to do any of that shading stuff. Maybe that's it kind of thought that I wanted to be impressed there. Oh my God. This is slow. What is going on here? CPU is pegged. And look at the RAM usage, 190K. All right. Oh, this is now slow, really slow. All right, so something's not right. I gotta see what's going on here. All right, so this was kind of like a failed experiment right now, and I don't have enough time right now to fix it. So I'm gonna end the video here, and hopefully if I can figure out what happened here, because I would expect double buffering to be faster, or unless I'm just not understanding that. But as you see here, this is like, I do like that, you can, I'm switching over to the control panel, but look at this, like, oh my God. It's a nice effect and probably looks really good on faster machines, but not exactly XT compatible. All right, so we're gonna rethink this approach here, because look at that CPU percent. Like it's whenever we have to do these redraws, we peg the CPU to 100%, as you can see here. And I don't know why I decided to do those. I don't know if that's just an artifact of the fact that the machine is really slow, and that's what double buffering is doing. Like I just clicked on this back here, and maybe that's just how it's supposed to be, and the XT makes it super obvious that double buffering is taking all this time to do it. But I'll dig into a little bit of what's happening in the code that was written, and if I don't find a solution, then we're probably not going to be doing double buffering until I have understand it a little bit more, because this is a lot slower than I expected. All right, well, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of this journey. All right, thank you. Bye.